Hey guys, welcome to Production Music Live. My name is Francois. In today's video, we're going to take a look at this project file here. It's a track called Clouds I made a while back, and I've redone the whole thing only using in-the-box Ableton Live elements, effects, and instruments. So sounds are made with wavetable and operator and stuff, and effects are from the audio effects right here. So it's fully in the box. The whole project file is available. You can check the link in the description, and you can get the single thing, or it's also part of the new sound pack I made, Melodic Deep sound pack by Francois. It comes with Ableton project files or templates, with MIDI files, with presets for wavetable, including MIDI files showcasing what the preset can do, and with samples. And if I go into it, we have it more in detail here. If we open up the Ableton project files, you see Clouds is this one we have opened right now, and there are 8 other ones in here as well. And this was actually a much requested tutorial here because we've posted the scale and the elements of the scale on our Instagram a few times, and people were like, wow, can you show that in detail? Can you make a walkthrough? So we're doing this today. So let's take a look at this project file. You see we have a fully arranged track. It starts at 30 seconds and lasts until 5 minutes, so 4.5 minutes. And it has an intro section here, bass coming in right there, build up starting at this point here after like 30 seconds. And then we are introducing our main elements here around this time. Some vocal sample on top in the background, creating some atmosphere, entering the break, a drop, like pretty laid back one here, because this is more like the hypnotic kind of track, and repetition of the main part and outro. Okay, and let's take a look at these single elements right here. We have this element here, which is a wavetable plug. It was from FM8 originally, and I remade it with wavetable. It goes like this. So basically we are playing a C minor hypnotic pattern here, kind of. If I'm bringing this D sharp down, you can see C, and then C repeats up here. So it's the minor third from C, D sharp, and G, major third, minor third, C minor chord. Okay, undoing this quickly, bringing it back up. This is our pattern. And the sound is generated by a wavetable here. It's a sine wave, simple sine wave, and this is the shape of our amplifier. And there's no crazy routing going on here. It's a very simple sound. And then on top, we have this long tail reverb playing a decay time of 5 seconds. If I turn off delay and reverb, we're getting a much more hypnotic feeling if we turn on the delay here. And the reverb as well. In the original version I made way back, I used the Tora verb, which is a really nice external plugin. And I kind of tried to remake the sound of that one here with this Ableton built-in one, as everything here is in the box Ableton, and then not much crazy stuff is happening, just a little bit of cutting out lows and warming up some high frequencies with this saturator. Yeah, and we are sending that signal from left to right in the panorama, and we are putting a filter on top. I think this one is even moving up over time here in the beginning. Yep. And closing that back down. And I also have a sampled version of the original sound here. This one sounds a bit more sticky. It has this clear attack to the sound. It feels a little bit percussive. So I thought, let's put a little bit of this in as well and mix and match those two. Yeah, and just to have this complete, we also have a reverb and a delay here, and we have pretty much the same chain behind it we have on the other sound. Bit percussive, plucky sound. It's kind of nice. It's FM8 in the original, and it's called Wet Marimba. Okay, let's go over to the bass sound, which is done by a wavetable here as well. So we are playing 8th notes here, but you know, in 16th notes positions. And originally I made this sound with the Arturia Mini version 2, but I tried to remake it with wavetable here. Important thing is you use the triangular wave here, and then you need a little bit of processing. You need a second envelope with roughly this shape and this decay time here, and you route that one onto the filter, which I selected a 12 decibels per octave PRD filter here, and that one is like moving that thing up and down. And thereby it's creating this plucky feeling. You have a nice, more resonant drive on top of it if you open up the drive here, and a little bit of resonance. And then we have a compressor on top of that, making sure we have kind of a bit more evened out volume, because we are playing, you know, over more or exactly an octave here, and that can be difficult at times with bass sounds. On top of that, we are putting a saturator again, like from the instruments here, saturator down there, a bit warmer. That's the one we're using here. And I'm cutting some frequencies, some resonant parts, a bit over 100 Hertz. And then we have our sidechain, which is mapped to our sidechain channel up here. So let's quickly play it. So this is our intro part, and then we are introducing our kick and snip snap sound. So let's quickly look at this. Drum rack with a kick, with a shaker, very quiet on top of it. And this one is off for now, and we're only playing this snip sound here. The kick sample, by the way, is kick 1 from the Premium Volume 1, our drum sample pack. If you haven't checked that out, or our series, the Premium 1, 2, 4. We are just finishing 5 right now. And if we're going here into this part, we see we are also introducing a shaker. Take another look at this drums element up here, which is introducing simply more drums to our track. So this kind of a custom made loop here, and it has some sub kicks, snips, and then the rim shots and stuff. And this shaker is off, but then we have this 16th note hi-hat with different velocities. And then we have a bunch of elements combined on the third or offbeat position here, distributed over the stereo spectrum, left and right. Okay, and if we play this together with our other kick and shaker, so all these little elements here add up to give this nice top loop atmosphere on top. And then we have a few more elements here. some kind of pre-clap element, and a percussive element on top of this clap. So this is how this is built together and played together with the bass sound. Okay, and let's take a look at our harmonies here. I'm going over to this operator melod sound, which is combining user wave together with a sine 4 wave, together with a simple sine wave and some other sine wave. So this is what it sounds like. Again, super hypnotic sound, super nice sound. And this one is making use of the so-called Hirajoshi scale. It's one of those harmonic scales. If you don't know anything about harmony or chord progressions, feel free to check out a harmony and chord progressions course, link in the description. Should be super interesting if you're new to this subject. In general, this is saying from all these available notes, we are only going to choose a few ones. And in this case, if we are using the Hirajoshi scale, starting from C, we'll be able to play C. And we're kind of limiting the amount of notes we are allowed to play. And we're playing C. We're allowed to play D. D sharp. And then also you can see here we're playing G and G sharp. So, and then again C. And then it basically repeats. So I'm selecting all of them, holding Option to copy all of them up here. So this is the available scale. These are the available notes we have. What a nice scale. And you can, if you limit yourself to these notes, you can play around over all these different octaves here and try to find nice patterns. And this is exactly what I did here. You can see I sat down with my Ableton Push next to me and just hit a couple of notes. Putting in that scale with Push, you can like select scales and then hitting those notes. Let's listen to it in the context of things. And actually, let's take a bit of a closer look at this scale and mess around a little bit with it. Since I don't have the Ableton Push here right now, I'm going to use some footage from another video where I did this and be back in a second. What a nice atmosphere. So what do we have? We have C, D, D sharp, and now we have G and G sharp. And we have C again. So only those. Well, it's 5 notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So powerful. Or if you just have very little idea what I'm talking about and you want to learn more about this, you can check out our course on harmony and chord progressions, where we're actually learning how to make use of these scales and chords. You can make songs out of like those chords, just those little power chords here. super nice. And then okay, and we're kind of applying the same concept to our sound called natural flavor here with operator. This one is just jamming around on top and playing these notes. And like taking that stuff over different octaves is what makes it really interesting. And also doing that within one bar, for example, here, not over a long period of time, but over a very short period of time. This is also an approach often used in melodic techno tracks, afterlife style and stuff like this, but it also works nicely in this melodic deep sound, in this more hypnotic sound right here. Okay, and it's pretty much the same sound we used here in this one with the operator mallets. So let's quickly go on, take a look at what's happening here. I have this simple vocal sample. And it's playing the root note of our scale, C, right here, of our C minor chord in the Hirajoshi scale. And on top of it, I'm playing this long reverb sound here to make it almost appear like a pad sound in the background, like an atmospherical pad sound. Okay, and then we are going into our break part here, where I'm switching the pattern. Again, C minor chord played out right here in a different voicing, also with these mid plucks, and the bass keeps on going monotonously, and some of those drum elements are keeping throughout the break. And we are just jamming some Rhodes keys on top here in this part. And as you can see, this is kind of optional. It could also feel a little bit wrong, but because it's not using only notes from the Hirajoshi scale, here we're actually also using A sharp, for example. And what else isn't part of the Hirajoshi scale? I think F isn't either. So an A. So we are using a bunch of notes that are not part of the Hirajoshi scale, but still kind of work in a C minor scale approach. So could be interesting, or you could also leave it out. It's kind of nice that Ableton has this whirly soft piano thing coming with in the box Ableton. If you go to these electric things and then you look for whirly, you will find it here. And they sound pretty good. In the original, I think I used Lounge Lizard, but this one works nicely too. Putting a ton of reverb onto this one to make, like you see, it's like even two reverbs back to back right here to give like this extra long reverb feeling. This one mixed in a little, this one mixed in a little as well. And then a sidechain in the back. But like in this track, for example here, those sidechains are just slightly applied. Don't put in too much. This is a chilled, laid back genre. We don't need this super pumping effect right here. Okay. Okay, and this part here in the drop is kind of something I learned from David August from the Boiler Room set in Berlin a couple of years back. He's playing, like that's very typical for what he would be doing, and I thought that was like a nice approach. So what you're doing here is kind of you mixing things up in the bass by going... And then you combine that with some interesting pad sounds. Again, only Hirajoshi scale notes here, D sharp, G sharp, G, and C. And it's also nice to not do it on the on beat, but kind of on the second beat of that drop, which makes it sort of cooler, in my opinion. And also a long reverb tail on that sound. So that one also requires, I mean, that's 17 seconds of decay time. And the sound originally was made with Massive, and I didn't want to use any third-party stuff here, so I kind of tried to remake it a little bit with Wavetable. However, Wavetable has some sort of sometimes weird sounding noises. You can't really get like a nice, like Massive has a nice noise section, and Wavetable, in my opinion, they always sound a bit more grainy and a bit more metallic, not too smooth. That's why I'm mixing those two here. I actually recorded a few octaves of this Massive pad and put them in as audio, and as you can see, made a custom instrument from it where different like notes occupy different ranges of the piano roll here to make sure they don't sound pitched. Because if you take C2 and play it at C3, it will sound like super cheap. That's why whenever you want to sample a sound and then use it later, sample a couple of instruments or notes you're going to use and then combine them in the simpler device, distribute the key over the piano roll spectrum here, and then you're good to go. And mix it together with the Wavetable pad here. So there we go. I think we took a look at all of our sounds. I mean, this scale is so simple, but it offers sort of endless jamming options and possibilities to make something super nice. And it kind of also reminds me of a track that was released by Stefan Butzin a couple of years ago, together with a remix from Rodriguez Jr. I think it's called Mistral or something. And it's just sounding super cool. So this should be interesting for picking up some ideas for some own new tracks you might be willing to make. So wrapping it up over here, I hope you enjoyed this little walkthrough session, and feel free to check the link in the description for this project file. It's called Clouds. Also, feel free to check the link in the description if you're interested in the full Melodic Deep pack here. As mentioned, it's containing those 9 fully editable Ableton project files. These are like fully arranged tracks for you to dissect and go through and pick out nice elements for your own tracks, for example. It's like fully editable album, Ableton only. And on top of that, we have more than 100 MIDI files here with pads and chords and stuff. Like these types of arpeggio patterns I use all the time. And also presets for Wavetable. For this synth down here, I made a preset pack, always having the MIDI file for the preset plus the preset itself. And also you will find samples. Some of my favorite samples in here, like kicks, for example, and a lot of tom sounds combined here, because tom sounds for melodic techno, melodic deep, you will need a lot of tom sounds as well. Anyways, you get the point. Link in the description as well. If you want to learn how to make music from start to finish in Ableton, feel free to check out our start to finish courses on our website, productionmusiclive.com, which is our website supporting this channel and giving us the ability to put out videos like this one here. So feel free to subscribe to our channel, leave a like and a comment, and I hope to see you next time.